You gonna help me tie this fly, Daisy? Yeah. All right. All right. All right, so today I'm gonna be tying this fly called the Matador. It's a little carp fly that's been doing real good for me lately. I actually have one rigged up on my rod. This is I'm gonna show you how to tie the brown one, but this is an orange one. And you can see, oh. I mean, it's still tied onto my rod, so we got the orange Matador right here. This one's kind of beat up. Caught a few double-digit sized carp on this one today, so that was fun. But it's basically just a little, the crawfish kind of are in either one of these two colors for the most part. Sorry about the people driving around outside. It's a little noisy. All right, so crawfish are either like this brownish color or the orange color, at least in the waters that I fish. And during certain times of the year, they get these bright orange tips. So that does a really good job of imitating it. Anyway, so yeah, let's tie it up. So the hook I have in the vise is a Kona Big Game Hunter, size 4. It's basically just a heavy wire, short shank hook. Perfect for tying this fly. And then I'll just go through the materials real quick. So I'm using a Vivus 140 thread in the fluorescent orange, because at the end, we're gonna give it a little hot spot so we can see it, the fly better in the water. Because fly fishing for carp, it's all sight casting, so it's good when you can see your fly, you can watch them slurp it. And then we're also using some Wapsi crawdad. This color is rusty brown. And then we also got some brown black barred rabbit strips and some barred speckled legs. And then we also got some hen saddle hackle. And then we also have a bee chain. All right, so just gonna start our thread on the hook here. I never really clip off my thread because that just takes time and wastes just a little bit of thread. So I just kind of give it a short tag in and just wrap it down. I don't really see much people doing that, but I don't know. So I like to build up a pretty good thread base right here just to give these eyes a little more something to grab onto. So using some extra large bead chain. This is black colored. You can tie those in about 10 wraps over one way, and you're gonna kind of twist them. You get 10 or so wraps the other way. And then to really secure these, this is the trick. You just go over the hook and then under the eye and then back over the hook, under the eye, and then you kind of pull them. So do that multiple times. And I don't ever use glue. So sometimes if you're tying like a clouser or something, or you put on some lead eyes, people would put super glue on there. But carp have a really good sense of smell, so they could smell that, and that can definitely deter them from biting. All right, I'm gonna take my hook and I'm gonna invert it in the vise, just barely. So we've wrapped down the bend of this hook a little bit, and we're gonna tie in a tail, which is just this rabbit strips. And so we're just gonna clip this off the hide here. The best way to do that is just hold it in one hand and hold it upside down. And then you can kind of just pull out how much you want, and then use your thumb and index finger to hold all that. That's the best way to do it, because it's kind of awkward any other way to do it. Just clip that off. Just kind of bunch that up. And I usually just hold it and make it about a body length, if that makes sense. So I just hold it at the hook eye, and I want those tips to just line up at the end of my hook. So it's longer than a hook shank. And we're gonna hold that right there, trade hands, and tie that in. All right. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put my hook back in there. And now, just about for the rest of this fly, we're gonna tie it with the hook with our vise inverted. So if you don't have a rotary, take the hook out and flip it around. So we're gonna make a dubbing loop. And wrap on forward, and forgot a material. Just grab the dubbing wax. This is a vital material. All right, so got our loom dubbing loop spinner. Put that in here, and then we're just gonna put some wax on the thread and take some of this Wapsi craw dub and I just take out a decent clump, and then you kind of just take this clump, take out sparse bits of it, and just load this loop. Missed that one right there. And it can be messy as heck, it doesn't matter. Carp can't see very well. All right, that spinned up, kind of brush it out a little bit. Really, when it comes to carp flies, the messier and the buggier, the better. And then just wrap this on forward. I'm not gonna wrap it all the way up to those eyes. I'm gonna give myself a little space. That out of here. We need more space than that, so we're actually gonna make some space by just wrapping back over that a little bit. And you can take this if you want and just kind of brush it out. All right, and then we're gonna take our hen saddle hackle, and this color is just called brown, but I also really like to tie this with like a brown-black barred hackle. You can also use like smaller schlopin feathers. Whatever you have laying around will probably work. All right, we're just gonna use this one. This is an imperfect feather. It's got a little bit of black on it, but it doesn't matter. We're not even gonna use any of that. So we're basically just gonna stroke these fibers back to make them stand up. And all this stuff up here, it's kind of messed up a little bit, but all this stuff up here is a little bit short, in my opinion. Tie it however you want, but I like to use these longer fibers right there. So take that, we're just gonna clip that off a little bit, give us a little room to tie in. Tie that in by the tip. And then you kind of help pull this feather back. Get 1, 2, and we'll do 3. So that denser hackle is actually gonna make the fly land softer because it disperses water as it's entering, because it's extra large bead chain, so it's not really heavy, but I mean somewhat heavy, but it lands soft because of how do I say it? How much like volume it has, because the hackle flares up, this rabbit fur flares up, and that crawdad it's real sparse and wiry, so that flares up. So it lands soft. All right, and then take those legs. I just peel off one, and I actually get, this fly doesn't use many legs at all. I actually get, peeled off two here. I actually get 2 flies out of 1 leg, because I'm just gonna fold this over, clip that in half. So we're just gonna use half of the leg. And to tie this in, we're not gonna tie it on the side of the hook, and we're not gonna tie it on the top. We're gonna kind of tie it in right between those 2 points, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna hold one on there. You can get a couple wraps, and then you can kind of pull it over and position it where you want it. And then wrap back down, and then pull this one around, wrap on top of that one. And then I pull it back, and we'll give it a good trim in a little bit, but just get a little rough trim. All right. And then now I like to just take just a tiny little bit of this dubbing and just kind of dub in front of those legs just a little bit. That's really the only reason I do that is if you don't do that, you're basically gonna have a little bit of exposed thread on the bottom. So now we're gonna take some of our rabbit strips, and this is without a doubt the hardest part of the fly. So basically, you're just gonna take about as much as you can get in like 1 pinch, if that makes sense. It's about as much hair as you can get on your fingers. I might have grabbed a little much here. Just gonna clip that off. And then just kind of do your best. Kind of awkward, but to bunch that up. So we have a dense little bit of hair right here. So what we're gonna do is it's a real slight movement, so you're almost not even gonna be able to see it. But I'm gonna lay this on top. I'm gonna change hands. And so it's gonna be sitting right on top, and I'm gonna move my fingers. I'm gonna be holding it super light. I'll just do it. Lay it on top, and I'm gonna hold it right here. Hold it, I'm gripping really light between my index and thumb. And what I'm just gonna do is just kind of wiggle the hair around, so it basically encompasses like the top and the sides of the fly. So it makes a clean crawfish shell back, basically. Just barely move that. And then pull straight down on it. All right, and then kind of get these excess bits up. Scissors are getting a little dull. All right, so just like so. So as you can see, basically, we have some exposed hackle in the bottom here, but the sides are encompassed. You know, they have that rabbit, instead of the rabbit fur just being on top, it's around the sides too. And it kind of covers up those legs, so it makes the legs really look like they're really in the fly instead of like separate, if that kind of makes sense. So I think it just makes it look a lot cleaner. Gives it a little bit more movement, but it's really just for the profile. All right, and then we're gonna take some more of this crawdad. You can kind of come in here, put a little bit of wax on your thread. We're not gonna do a dubbing loop this time. We're just gonna put in a noodle. And again, this does not, we're not tying a little tiny trout nymph here. We're just making an ugly carp fly. So it does not have to be a pretty dubbing noodle. Just do your best to cover up your thread wraps, and then you can kind of build up that little orange hot spot right there. And so this is a little trick of mine. When you whip finish, a whip finish knot is pretty durable. It's a really good knot. But if you wax your thread, it makes it quite a bit more durable. Of course, it's most durable if you whip finish and then use glue, but carp can smell, so I try to avoid glue. So we got our thread waxed, and I do 2 whip finishes on here. Trim our thread off. That's it right there. And then to trim these legs, I just pull them up, and those are pretty good. Just trim them as long as that tail. But that's the Matador Carp Fly. It's a real good little crawfish imitator, and lands soft, and carp love it. So tie it up, try it out, let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching.